The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Seattle, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 33702. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start just under the front bumper, where you'll find 2 downward-facing perimeter lights on the front bumper. Moving up onto the face of the bumper on the passenger side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Next to that, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. Moving just inward of that location, you'll find 2 tow hooks which are attached to the frame rail. Moving all the way to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your PA speaker and siren. Let's move up onto the body. Onto the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Moving inside of that location is where you'll find your high beam headlight. As we move up from that location, you'll find a roto-beam forward-facing emergency warning light. You'll find grab handles just under the front windshield area, along with mirrors on the outer edge. The mirror does house a flat portion on the upper part of the mirror, and the lower portion is convexed. Moving up from this location, you'll find a downward pointing mirror on the passenger side. Across the brow, you'll find 5 running lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar is where you'll find your Opticom directly in the center. Let's take a look at some of the close-ups that we've just talked about. We'll first start back down at the front bumper area with the mechanical siren and air horn. Moving over to the driver's side, we'll find your PA speaker, siren, and air horn. Moving up to the cab, we'll find your headlights and emergency warning lights. And moving up to the very top, forward-facing flood. Let's move to the side where you'll find a turn indicator. Moving up onto the A-pillar, you'll find a side-facing camera. You'll also find paddle latch handles that are keyed. Moving just inside the door, you'll find on the door panel and affixed to all door panels all of your warning labels. As we move to the floorboard, we'll find 3 foot pedals, which we'll go over those in just a moment. Moving up to the very top A-pillar once again, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. This is a sampling of the warning labels that are affixed to the door panel. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find your air horn, mechanical siren, and also electronic siren foot pedal. As we move back to the A-pillar, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving upward from this location, you'll find a spotlight. Moving to the opposite side within the officer's space, the very top is where you'll find a do not move your apparatus. You have a compartment door open or ajar. Onto the right-hand side of the cab, you'll find a map reading light and also a vehicle data recorder on the left side of the inside cab. Quick view over the top section of the officer's space. Let's start with the switch panel. We have a driver's side flood, front flood, passenger side flood, rear scene lights, perimeter lights, and tiller wheel scene. When any of these switches have been activated, the green light, as an example, the perimeter lights, is activated. As we move just left from that position, you'll find your FireCom module. Moving further to left, you'll find your AM/FM weather band CD radio. And also just underneath that location, you'll find a reading light, high intensity, and also your FireCom wireless base station. Let's move back toward the center area where you'll find your ceiling fans, and also located in the very center, you'll find an inclinometer for left to right movement. Moving back to the exterior or on the passenger side, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light and also your air inlet. Moving further back to the cab area, you'll also find on the rear wall a shore power inlet. This is a plug-in location, which happens to be a 20 amp plug. Moving back inside to the cab area, once again, you'll find affixed to the door panel all of your warning labels. In addition, with the warning labels at the very top section, you'll find your window control, door latch, and also locking mechanism. As we move to the hinge side, you'll find a red grab handle, which allows access for in and out of the cab for ease of firefighter security and safety. Let's move from this location inside the cab to the rear section of the engine. You'll find this lift and turn latch. This will gain access into the rear section of the motor, allowing you to check your daily checks for your oil and transmission. Looking overhead, you'll find two overhead in the extension of the roof area and also your air conditioning. As we move to the rear wall, you'll find two seats nestled close together on a riser. On each side, you'll find stream lights located on the left and right hand side of the seat. As we move back to the exterior, you'll find a smaller compartment at the lower section of the rear door. Let's move now back further behind the cab area. We'll first start in the first compartment to the rear section of the cab. As we look inside the section here, you'll find a through compartment. There are two pull-out trays, one lower and one upper. The upper tray does have a long-handled tool storage location and also SCBA on the left-hand side. LED lighting, dry deck material within inside the cab area. As we move from this compartment, let's move further toward the rear of the apparatus, still within the tractor location. We do have a few warning labels here because there is a ladder for gaining access aloft, and also a warning label here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures because of the exhaust. On the fall hazard, we do recommend that you face the vehicle and use all of these steps and handhelds. Down at the very bottom section, you'll find an extremely hot warning label here regarding your diesel exhaust. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. You do have Alcoa wheels and Michelin tires. As we move to the rear section of the tractor, we'll identify a few items within this area. First, let's take a general view here of the fifth wheel. As we move to the left, you'll find a warning label regarding tip over hazard and also regarding the fifth wheel lock. You'll also find a warning label here regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they've received proper training. Because we have some significant amount of moving parts, we do have a crush hazard here because of this hydraulic equipment. And as we move to the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a warning label here regarding the anchor point failure that you should only use straight pull. We do have a 9,000 pound limit. Moving now also to the tractored area, you'll find your aerial inlet and also a inlet gauge. Moving down from that location, you'll find the aerial drain and then also the fifth wheel lock. As we move to the rear section of the tractor area, you'll find inclinometers both front to rear and side to side. They do operate within a black, yellow, and green. Optimally, you'd like to be operating within the green, which is a 0 to 5 degree bubble. As we move to the side area, you'll find two compartments with lift and turn. We'll move to the very first one and we'll discuss the items there. First, starting in the upper left-hand corner with a generator on-off switch. We do have future switch locations if they are necessary. Let's move now to the stabilizers. We do have an emergency stop, which will illuminate in a red light. There's also a protected override switch in the upper left-hand corner of this module. We have an emergency hydraulic power and then also a level assist. This is broken down into two sections. There is the passenger side stabilizer and also the driver's side stabilizer. The image depicts the movement of that stabilizer. You need 4 green indicators for normal operations. As we move downward, you'll also find a warning label here regarding stability hazard. Let's move to the next compartment of the lift and turn latch. You'll find all of your modules here. This is for your maintenance personnel.
As we move now to the cord reel, this is your electrical cord reel powered by the generator. It is a 200-foot cord reel. You'll also find to the nestle point at the very rear wall, you'll find an inclinometer and also a power on when your generator is operational. Let's move back to the cord reel. On the exterior wall, you'll find a push button. This is going to be the cord reel rewind. It is a 200-foot 30 amp reel. Next to that, you'll find your side-facing stabilizer camera. On those stabilizers, you'll find some warning and also some danger information. Let's go over those information placards. First at the top, we have a warning regarding crush hazard. As we move downward, you'll find a side-facing emergency light, and then just beneath that, you'll find a danger regarding electrocution hazard that the equipment is not insulated. As we move further to the rear on the side, you'll find a side-facing floodlight. Moving down to the very bottom, you'll find the storage location for the stabilizer pad. Moving to the next compartment, you'll find a through compartment which houses LED lighting and also 3 pull-out style trays, in addition with the very bottom section that pulls out also. Moving from this location to the vertical wall, this is where the G1 breaker panel is located. This is the breaker panel for your generator. At the very top section in the black placard indicating G1, and you can see on the left and right the individual numbers regarding the individual breakers for those unit identifiers. Also, you'll find a yellow placard regarding continuous power supply. At the very top, you'll find the control module for that generator. Also within the vicinity, you'll find a 30 amp outlet. Let's move further to the back section where you'll find the next compartment. The top shelf is a pull-out and tilt outward, and the bottom section is a pull-out tray. Moving to the next compartment to the rear, you'll find a roll-up door. In this area, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location. At the very bottom, a pull-out tray. Moving next to the 2 pan doors that open up outward, you'll find adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and on the bottom, dry deck material. In the upper corner, you'll find a shoreline outlet within this compartment. As we move just above this compartment, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And as we move up to the very top, just above the walkway area, you'll find a mirror capable for the tiller person position for seeing the right side of the apparatus. The rear does have Alcoa wheels and Bridgestone tires. Moving now just to the rear section of the rear axle, you'll find a bottle storage location with retaining strap. You'll also find a 20 amp outlet with an indication for power on once again if the generator is operational. Moving now to the step area, as we move upward in the step location, we do have a few warning labels here. In the very center section, you'll find a fall warning indicator. When utilizing a ladder, make sure when climbing a ladder, face the vehicle and use steps and handholds. As we move to the very rear compartment, you'll find the department logo in the upper section, also a side-facing rear camera, and in the lower section, a roll-up door, dry deck material, and LED lighting inside. Let's go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus. We'll start identifying a few items within this area. Let's start down in the lower corner of the apparatus, the bottom section, and we'll first start on the outside edges. You'll find 2 marker lights located on the exterior. As we move to the rear wall, you'll find your brake light at the very top section. Moving downward from this location, you'll find your turn indicator. It's actually an arrow. And then as we move just inside of that location to the very bottom section, you'll find your reverse lights. And then just above that, you'll find a red and amber color emergency warning light. Just inside of this location, you'll find 2 tow hooks or attachment points. Those do have some warning labels, and we'll go over those in just a moment. Also, you'll find a D handle to go inside to the rear compartment. As we move to the very top, you'll find your 360-degree emergency warning lights. You'll also find your traffic advisor. Moving up from that location, you'll find the amber and red emergency warning light. Also, your camera located in the very center. And then at the very top section, you'll find rear-facing scene lights. Moving all the way to the very top, you'll find 3 clearance lights. Let's go ahead and move downward from this location. Take a look at some close-ups. Here are the light housing structures. Let's move just inside of this location to the anchor point where you'll find that fail anchor hazard, straight pull only, and do not exceed the 9,000 pound capacity. As we move to the D-handle drop-down compartment, you'll find 3 locations for SCBA bottle storage. As we move to the very far right of the compartment, you'll find this warning, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and then also that electrocution hazard. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the compartment now. We'll identify the ladders. Let's first start with long tool handled storage, and we'll start in the upper left-hand corner, first starting with the 3 10-foot pike pole locations. As we move to the right, more toward the center area, you'll find 2 6-foot pike pole storage locations. And then as we move downward, you'll also find 3 12-foot pike pole storage locations. Let's go ahead and identify the ladders, starting on the left-hand side with a 35-foot 2-section, 24-foot 2-section, and a 24-foot 2-section. Moving to the right, you'll find your 45 3-section and a 35 2-section. Moving all the way to the right, you'll find your 16-foot straight. There are 3 of them. And then as we move from this location, let's move up to the very top. We'll take a look at some close-ups. Traffic advisor, emergency warning lights, which are yellow and red. And then as we move around to the side of the vehicle, we're now on the driver's side. We'll find that side-facing camera, and then also access for the operator in the tiller person's position. As we move downward to the roll-up door, you'll find LED lighting and adjustable shelving. Moving forward to this location, you'll find a light box mounted on the vertical wall. Then as we look to the ladder itself for climbing, you'll also find some warning labels here. Because of the firefighter moving into this area, this label, caution, no step, appears to be upside down. That's because when the compartment is in the open position, the firefighter on the top will visually see that information. Moving inside this compartment, you have 2 12-volt blocks here for 12-volt access. Moving now to that ladder just in front of it, you'll find an additional compartment, LED lighting. This is the compartment in the open position. You'll also find that vertical wall also houses a SCBA bottle storage with retaining strap, and then just beneath it, that 20 amp generated power. You can see the power on indicator at the bottom. Once again, the vehicle does have Bridgestone tires in the rear, Alcoa wheels. As we move up to the ladder itself, you'll find your rescue or tower mode. Those are the options here for moving the water ray to a lower position or remaining at the tip. You'll also find on the driver's side an additional mirror for the tiller person position. We're moving now forward in the compartments. We'll find adjustable shelving and also a pull-out tray at the very bottom section. Moving one forward, you'll find the same thing, adjustable shelf and also a pull-out tray. The next forward compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray halfway and then also a lower portion pull-out tray. You do have some wheel chocks located here just for storage. As we move forward in this same compartment, you're going to find 12-volt blocks also for access to the battery system. As we move to the very front compartment, you'll find those 3 trays that move either right to left and then also the bottom tray. We'll also find your storage location here for your stabilizer pads. As we move to the stabilizer pad, I would like to remind you that there is the danger warning label here regarding electrocution hazard because this equipment is not insulated. Moving up to the very top, you'll find at the location of the stabilizer, your stabilizer camera. And then you'll also find that warning label regarding crush hazard. Let's move forward to this location. There are some inclinometers on the side location. This is for side to side. And then also we have a 20 amp power outlet. And also when plugged into shore power or on generated power, that will be active. As we move to the section just under the ladder, you'll find your hydraulic generator. And now just a couple of quick views of the aerial. And then we'll move down from this location to 2 compartments. The lift and turns, we'll take the one closest to the rear first, and we'll identify the items within this area. These are going to be your emergency overrides. The knobs at the top match the instructions down at the very bottom. They are color-coded. On the far left, it is black, and then blue, and then lime green. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the switch to go between aerial or stabilizer. So emergency power for aerial would be up and stabilizer emergency power would be in the downward position. There are instructions here regarding those individual levers and then also some danger regarding high pressure. As we move to the next compartment forward, we'll find the same controls as we did on the passenger side as on the driver's side. Emergency stop, override, hydraulic emergency power, and also a level assist. Remember, broken into two sections, stabilizer side for the passenger and stabilizer side for the driver. We also have that aerial stability hazard here with a warning label. As we move back up, this is going to be from left to right. This is your inclinometer. Once again, you want to remain in the green, which is from 0 to 5 degree bubble. As we move to the stabilizer anchor, you'll find also this warning label regarding only a direct pull and also 9,000 pounds. As we move, you'll find your aerial inlet both on the passenger and on the driver's side. You'll also find an aerial drain down at the lower section on the ball valve, in addition with your fifth wheel lockout lever in the very front section. We do have some warning and information guides just above that lever, which we've gone over before on the passenger side. We'll do a quick review. First, we have a tip over hazard, also a danger for crush, and then also a warning label here regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location where we'll find the ladder for gaining access to go aloft to the aerial. We also have a warning label in this area. This is also the location where your DEF tank is located. It is a 10-gallon DEF tank. It's the blue cap. As we move down from the very top section, as we move further down near the ladder area, you'll also find the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. It is the pan door right next to this label regarding the fall hazard and face the vehicle when climbing the ladder and maintain points of contact. It is the silver cap, which is your fill location for ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move back to the compartment just in front of the cab area, we'll find in the upper left-hand corner, first starting with the cab lift, there are instructions to raise the cab and also to lower the cab. The red switch will be the actual indicator for lower or raise position, and then we also have an activate switch. We also have a cab not locked indicator, which will illuminate in red if the cab is not locked. Moving downward from this location on the cab lift, we'll also find a shoreline outlet, and then moving further down, we'll find your Elkhart nozzle control module. Let's go ahead and move now to the cab, where you'll find that smaller cab door just next to the rear cab entry. As we move into the cab itself, I would like to remind you, affixed to all the door panels, there are warning labels, in addition with that red grab handle to gain access in and out of the cab for firefighter safety. Once again, here are those cab warning labels regarding SCBA crush hazard and also fall hazard. As we move now to the front section of the driver's seat, we'll start first down at the floorboard area on the right by the seat area. You have an air shutoff. It's a twist, not a pull. And to the right, you'll find your air inlet outlet. It's on the very far right. Let's move now, stay on the floorboard area, but we'll move about to about the right ankle of the operator, where you'll find some warning labels here. What I would like to point out is this yellow placard manufactured by Pierce for the City of Seattle. This houses information regarding the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and also all of your unit's fluid capacities for the device and fluid types. As we move back to the floorboard, you'll find the air horn and mechanical foot pedal switch. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find in the center your brake treadle and accelerator. As we move upward at about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your master battery switch at the very top. As we move downward from this location, you'll find your regen inhibit, ABS diagnostics, engine, transmission, and ABS diagnostic port, and also your display port. Those display ports and engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic ports, those will be for your maintenance crew. As we move further down, you'll find your DPF regen and engine diagnostics. You'll also find an audible alarm and then also your tech module. The audible alarm does have the ability to dampen the sound by simply turning the outer edge of the bezel. As we move now up about just above the on-off switch, you'll find your shift inhibit override and also a brake application gauge. Let's go ahead and move overhead of the operator. We'll start first with this yellow placard. First, your height 11 feet 3.25 inches, your length 60 feet 0.63 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 93,600 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle, please update this placard accordingly. Let's move just to the left to the next set of switches. You'll find an emergency master, high beam flash, Opticom, air horn, a siren brake, and then also a momentary Opticom switch. Any of these switches have been activated or turned on, the light will illuminate within the switch itself. Let's move further to the right to the next set of switches where you'll find light control, driver side flood, front flood, passenger side flood, rear scene, perimeter lights, and tiller wheel scene. The perimeter lights you can see are currently active. That's a display to indicate what lights would be in the on position. Let's move further to the right where you'll find the traffic advisor. And now we'll move to the dash area for the operator. Starting on the far left, you have an indicator lamp regarding fuel restriction. As we move downward, you'll find your hazard, start, and ignition. Moving further to the right, you'll find an EM switch, which is your master emergency switch. You can activate or deactivate. Next to it, headlights and panel lights, which allow you to brighten or dim your panel lights within preview of the driver. On the left, you'll find your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temperature. In the very center section, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. You'll find diagnostic information where you can currently see it's illuminating below the speedometer and tachometer. As we move to the right, you'll find the volts, fuel, front and rear air. Once again, diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. As we move just downward from this location, you'll find the OK to engage your high idle and the high idle indicator. Moving to the right, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. Moving to the right, you'll find a flashing jackknife warning if you're in a jackknife position. And then as we move to the right, just a general display here of the controls to the right of the driver's position. Let's start first with the Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information here right at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual for more information. Moving to the right, you'll find the aerial master, stabilizer camera, differential lock, generator PTO, and also load manager. Moving downward from this position, the next set of switches will house the engine brake on and off, a settings for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, future switch location, indicator prove out, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. We also have some warning information just below, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. First, remember always to engage the parking brake and run the engine while using your front wheel lock. As you move to the left, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout at the very top section. You'll also find your warning buzzer. This is 1 for stop, 2 for go, and 3 for backup. And you'll also find your controls for your mirror for the flat and convex mirror. Moving just to the right, you'll find your window controls for driver's side, passenger side cab windows, and passenger side cab windows. You'll also find barrel style and USB style 12-volt access. Moving downward, you'll find your climate control, including heat and air, and also defrost. Moving overhead, you'll find generator operating instructions, and then also in the very center, an LED light indicating do not move your apparatus if the light is flashing. I think I have a close-up of that here in the next image. On the very far right-hand side, you'll see the 2 fans and then also your siren control. Moving to the rear, you'll find 2 seats nestled close together on the back wall on a pedestal, and then also 2 rear windows. As we move overhead, you'll find your intercom system and plug-in. And as we move to the tiller position, we'll go over those items. First, starting on left and right, those are the camera monitors. As we move to the center, you also have steering control for telephoto and tilt. Let's go ahead and move down to the left-hand side of the operator's position. We'll start first with the air. It's a fan speed, and we have a high setting and also a low setting. Moving just to the right of this location on the same plane, you'll find your climate control module. And then as we move overhead of the operator's seat, you'll find just a quick layout, and we'll identify those starting on the far left-hand side with your heater control. Moving just to the right in the very center, you'll find your steering wheel position indicator, left or right. You'll also find switches here for your perimeter lights and tiller wheel scene lights. Moving further to the right, we'll find a set of switches and also indicators. Let's start on the far left-hand side of the switch bank with the wiper and washer. And then to the right, you'll find your step lights, some indicator lights for jackknife warning, trailer ABS, driver's side door open, and passenger side door open. You'll also find your defense zone monitor for the right camera on the right side and opposite on the left side. On the right side, you'll also find your windshield wiper fluid fill location. As we move overhead, you'll find your Firecom headset system and plug-in location for charging. Let's move back up to the front section of the cab. We'll go to the rear cab wall and we'll start on the left-hand side. This is going to be the driver's side. This cutout here is for your pressure for aerial hydraulic oil. Moving to the right, you'll find the fill location for that hydraulic oil. And as we move all the way to the right to the lift and turn latch, this is going to be the location for your power steering. A couple close-ups of the items here. We'll first start, we've got a green OK indicator here regarding that pressure. As we move to the right, you'll find the fill location, and on the door of that fill location, you'll find the aerial hydraulic oil. You'll find on the left the type of oil, the ISO grade, and also the normal ambient range. Moving to the right, you'll find your power steering. Let's go ahead and move now to the pedestal area. In the upper right-hand corner is where you'll find an audible alarm. There are also two pan doors in this area. We'll identify the contents behind those in just a moment. As we move over to the left-hand side of the aerial ladder, you'll find your inclinometer for the ladder itself. Let's move back over to the pedestal. We'll talk a little bit about some of those warning labels. Let's first start with the warning label regarding utilizing a ladder belt or fall restraint required. You'll also find a pinch or crush hazard warning label also. As we move to the very top section, you'll find the controls here for your aerial ladder. These are the overrides. You'll also find on the door panel itself the extension, rotation, and elevation instructions. As we move down to the next panel down, this is going to be for service and for calibration of your aerial. As we move to the pedestal inside the lid, we'll talk a little bit about some of the items here. Let's start at the very front section and we'll identify the intercom, volume control, and also push to talk with the speaker. As we move to the left and right, we'll find inclinometers for side to side and also front to back for your aerial. As we move to the pedestal itself, we'll find an emergency stop button. We'll also find an engine start and engine stop button. Moving down from this location, you'll find your tracking lights, tip lights. At the very bottom section, you'll find your aerial speed, either normal or fast. And then to the right, you'll find your emergency hydraulic power. Let's move all the way back up to the very top. We do have a switch in place here for waterway valve, and you can see it's currently in the open position. As we move to the right, this is your command zone. Once again, a tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information regarding your command zone. Let's move down now to the controls. For ladder controls, you'll have extend, retract, right and left, and lower and raise. On the left, you'll have an informational stow indicator. You'll also have nozzle control for the stream or fog. You also have lower and raise and right to left nozzle control. On the right side of the cover, you'll find your Ascendant ladder waterway dry at a 50-mile-an-hour wind condition. Also a chart just beneath that. Same thing with the waterway in a charged position. And then beneath that, you'll find all of your monitor nozzle positions. I would like to point out at the very bottom section regarding the capacities are based on normal flowing conditions. There is information regarding icing conditions within this area. As we move to the side, you'll also find all of our warning and danger information affixed to the panel. Let's now move to the aerial itself, where you'll find a 12-foot folding attic ladder. As we move forward to this location, you'll find a pike pole or trash hook location. Moving forward onto the fly area, you'll find a storage location for your axe. And as we move to the very tip of the ladder, you'll find controls here for storing the waterway at a lower point on the fly or at the very tip. You'll also find controls here for the nozzle, straight stream or fog, left and right, and also up and down. Congratulations, Seattle, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 33702. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.